And we're live.
I just realized you're wearing that again. That's a hideous shirt. Hideous.
It was clean.
Hideous.
It was clean.
That's all I'm saying. Hideous.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Facebook Live. This is Mark Lipinski and Mr. Electric, Jeff Turner, and we're live. Are we?
With a repeat shirt.
Yeah, we are. There we go.
Well, we have one
person. There,
Five.
no, there you go. All right. So now we're live. I wasn't quite sure. Sorry, we might be a little late. I was baking. Can you imagine? Hi, Diane. How are you? And Sherry from Texas. Hi, Sherry. We need to talk on the phone. It's been a while. Hi, Ruth. How's your phosphorus? I have to talk about that a little bit today. Ruth is here. Hi, Ruth. Nice to see you. But there's over 50 now. There's over 64. Hi, Jamie Wallen. Hi, how are you? I'm glad to see you here. Janice, nice to see you. Boy, it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Hi, Ronnie.
Over a little bit. Hi, Ronnie. Nice to see you. Yeah, all right. Nice to see you. Anyway, so a lot to talk about. Leanne, it's nice to see you too. As you can see, I'm still round-faced from my stuff. What's that stuff called?
Eating?
Oh, you bastard. Not eating. I'm still round-faced from the steroids, yeah. But can you see, this is the first gay divorce in New Jersey. At any rate.
Well, you did say you were busy baking, so
I was busy baking.
And a little sampling maybe happening.
That's true. Hi, Lynn. Lynn, I was just at a store today and I saw some flamingo pillows for $5 and I thought of you. I was going to take a picture and then I thought, to hell with it. I can't do that. Hi, Diane. Brandy, how are you? Nice to see you. Anyway, I don't want to belabor this. We have lots and lots to talk about. First of all, I'm going to show you what I've been kind of up to. Jeff has been signing books and going all over the place and selling his Who Broke the Vase book. And I think it's going pretty well.
Actually, you know, the most fun I had is
Hi, Frankie.
Where's Frankie? Oh, hi, Mary. Hi, Frankie.
Hi, Jill.
Was going to the Goddard School, where they were 2 years old up to 6 years old, and totally engaged reading the book. It was so much fun. It was like the best fun. It was a great way to start a Monday.
I think we're both pretty good with kids, but you're better with kids.
It's
you know what? Here's the thing.
Wait. You did point out to me, which I didn't appreciate, but it's probably true, that when I went to the Goddard School, they probably thought they were listening to their grandfather tell a story.
Well, that's true because you're old as the
mud.
Yeah, mud.
Yeah, dirt, whatever.
Yeah, but you know, anyway, so that's kind of what we've been doing. Anyway, I've been taking some classes.
Thanks, Kath.
I've been taking some classes. You might have seen these on Facebook, Linda Lumdabono and I took a class in bookbinding. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I couldn't get in to these classes. They kept being canceled, and finally one happened. So I took it. So these are all the little books. You might have seen them on Facebook, but these are all the little books we learned how to make. Look at this. Isn't this neat? Hard-covered, and it's a little accordion book. So much fun to do. And again, I took it with Linda Lumdabono. Here's another accordion book, but this one has pockets in it. Can you see? And wouldn't this be neat to fill with like little gift cards? A gift card for every
Who's
little
the mystery family in there?
I took them from Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And I taped them on the back of an old Pickle Road studio card. And so that's the mystery family.
That's sad. That's like when you buy a frame and keep the picture of the people in there telling everybody it's your family.
I have no life. I have no life. So this is, I pretend. I have a pretend family. And then I think it would be a great thing to put put a couple bucks in, put pictures, memories, and it's really easy to make. Actually, I might teach this online one day because it's really easy, or I'll give you the name of the book where you could learn it.
You know, my birthday's coming up. You could load this with a lot of money.
Yeah,
you know,
and your birthday is coming up, but you're too old to be able to handle it. So
that's why I don't have to turn pages.
Hi, Jackie.
I just go like this.
That's right.
I can do it.
Here's another one. It's a bigger one, a bigger accordion book, but this is teaching us how to do a bigger cover. Although I was not so into the accordion books, but I was really interested in learning how to stitch the books.
Okay, do we like Chuck Carruthers?
We do love cuts. Yes.
Did you see what he said?
Yes, I do. Chuck Carruthers is an old friend. I mean, old, and he lives in Fort Lauderdale. And we knew each other from Pittsburgh. I was living in San Francisco, and he dated somebody who was the first man I ever went out with. which was really creepy to me. It was very scary. Most of it I don't remember because I was drunk every time I went out with them. Anyway, so this was how you stitch a book and make a stitch book, homemade book. That was that. And then this one was a different kind of stitching book. So it's just a bunch of really easy techniques. This one I love. It's one of these ones where you glue the end and you could rip these out, this tablet.
Like perfect bound, right?
Yeah, like perfect bound. And I thought that was really cool. I love this. And I love this paper. Isn't this paper terrific? It's really just paper, but it looks good. So that was that.
Leather,
yeah.
vinyl or something.
This is a hardbound book that I really want to learn to make, and it's made with a Japanese stitch. I screwed it up here because I pulled too tightly, but if you look closely, you could see these little, they're woven, these stitches. And it turns into a regular old book, which I love that. Then these are Japanese books in terms of how you stitch them. Do you see the binding on this? So they're just sewn together books, and they're very easy to do. It's just a matter of how you learn to stitch them. So that's one way. And then, of course, this is another way to do it. You get the same on the back with the black. And then here's another way to do it with two colors. So isn't that fun? So if you're a sewer, it's really kind of fun to do this. And I will, on my blog this week, I will put the resources down. The teacher where I learned to do this, actually, the bookbinding class was at the Printmaking Council of New Jersey in Branchburg, New Jersey. It's a fabulous place. Then I took another class. How do you like this? With the same teacher. It was of a guy named Dave DeMarkey, and he was teaching at the New Hope Salisbury Public School in New Hope, Pennsylvania, their high school. And I'm taking this printmaking class with Jill Edwards, who's a slow stitcher and went to the slow stitching retreat, and whom I've known for a long time. She lives in Morristown, and Meg Cox. And so the three of us have been meeting there every week, every Tuesday. Tomorrow, this Tuesday will be our last class. It's 4 Tuesdays, which, by the way, I've decided I hate taking multiple classes.
Why?
I want one and done. Do you know what I mean? Just one and done. You want to get it done. Anyway, I have so much to talk to you about. So I'm going to show you some of the printmaking I've been doing. I'm going to show you some of the new books that are just coming out. I'm going to show you some of the new magazines I just got. I'm going to tell you about a little adventure I did last week. I'm going to give you an update on the kidney. We're going to talk about where I was. We're going to show you some stuff that people sent me. And then we're going to talk a little bit about social media, which I think is on the tip of everybody's mind, given what's been going on. And plus, I'm going to show you this new thing that I took from Liza Lucy's house when I went to visit her, and I said, can I please just have this to show you guys? So, oh, and then I'm going to reveal to you the quilt behind us, which is actually the Who Broke the Vase quilt. And it's done, and it's behind us, and so you'll see that a little later.
And actually, if you look at the screen, move your head in. We actually share a brain. See the connection going in between the two of us?
Oh, you're an idiot. All right, so anyway, no, I don't really see that. Anyway, so here we go.
I have to explain everything.
Okay. Margot, Jeff never takes these classes with me. He doesn't like to take classes like this. I've asked him to learn how to quilt. I've asked him to learn how to sew. Right? Nothing.
Yeah, well, but then I went to art school for 4 years. I kind of got exposed to all that. It's not something that interests me.
Well, right. And I don't really understand it, because half of this shit doesn't interest me either. And even the fabric I buy doesn't really interest me sometimes, and yet I still have to buy it and I still have to do it because I want to learn it, right?
Or addiction. I mean, that could be
Well, it could be addiction. Yeah. That's true. All right. So anyway, so Jill Edwards and Meg Cox and I are taking this printmaking class, and I have to tell you, I am really bad at it. So what we're learning to do is printmaking, right? So we've been using, and again, I see that it's backwards. Is it still backwards for you too? Anyway, we're using this stuff, these speedball things. It looks like an eraser. They're pretty cheap. They're under $4, I think, or $3, maybe $3 something like that. And they come in all different sizes. And then what you do is you draw on them, or you trace on them, and you use this little, it's like a carver. And these speedball carvers come with all these little attachments, these little knives. Do you see inside of it? They're pretty inexpensive too. And then you just literally carve out of, you literally carve out of this stuff and you make these prints. So let me see if I can show you here really quickly.
That's different than when I did it. I used to have it on. It was on a. You bought a piece of linoleum and had to adhere it to a block and then carve it. It was really hard.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's during the Flintstone days when you were young. Life has progressed, Well, that's right, Joyce Ward? Helen Marie, I'm going to talk about you a little later today. So anyway, the first one I did, and I even threw the prints away because I didn't like it, but I'll show you pictures because I did take a picture. It was a mermaid with a sword. And it's hard to see this because it's just kind of wiped down, but that's the mermaid with the sword. And then or 2 weeks ago, I guess, I did this, which was on the other side. I carved out this angel, and it really sucked. When you see it, wait till you see how horrible it is. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you print it out.
It could use some work.
You've never seen this.
No, but now I'm thinking I'll buy you some colored pencils or something.
Right.
It'd be fun to fill in.
It's so horrible. Yeah. Anyway, so what I decided to do was I think that my lines are just too thick.
Yeah.
So I think what I'll do is just kind of go back into this and shave some of these lines out. And again, take a look. I hope you can see this. I'm just going to do a little bit right now. Watch. Can you see this? Did you see that? It comes out so easily. Watch. It just...
Yeah, linoleum doesn't come out that easy when you're doing it.
See, that's it. And then for the background, you just kind of cut it all out. So easy. That's it. That's it.
How long did that take?
This took about maybe an hour by the time I drew it on and cut it out, but it's not right. So it doesn't matter if it took 1 hour or if it took 40 days, it's still ugly as hell. But here's what happened. I want to tell you something. What I thought was interesting, when I was printing this, I was like, oh dear God, it's so hideous. And that's because my lines were so thick. But I think that what I did was, so when you clean these, you simply have to clean these with baby wipes, right? So there's baby wipes and you just wipe it off.
It's water-based?
No, this is oil-based. But you clean them with baby wipes, and so before I went to clean it, before I started wiping it off with baby wipes, I just printed it on a baby wipe just to get the majority of it on. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but that's what I did. And all of a sudden, this came up on my baby wipe, which was, you could see through it. It's kind of a transparent, right?
It's kind of cool.
Right. So then I thought, well, damn. So then I printed another one. Whoops. And then I kept printing them until they got lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, right? And here's what happened. And then this one was just a complete mess. And this one was, when I first started, just to kind of get it so it's not even on. But guess what, you guys? And I have to tell you, this could be a happy accident because ultimately, these are fabric, right? And I thought, oh my gosh, what if I sew these onto fabric and cut some away, burn some away, and actually do a little machine applique or machine painting, thread painting in some of these? I thought it might be kind of an interesting wall hang. First of all, if it looks like shit, you call it art. Whoops, who said that?
That's subjective.
I know. Well, it is subjective. That's the truth. I mean, the truth of the matter is, what is art? It's very subjective. So I thought, let me see what I can come up with. And I think it might be an interesting idea to use this stuff. One of the things I'd seen ages ago, and which I had been collecting, was I was inspired by this Japanese artist who used these little pieces of sheer fabric to make this see-through quilt. And so I started collecting tea bags, used tea bags, remember? So I have a bunch of them, be quiet, that I took the tea out after they were all stained and I ironed them, and I thought, well, that could be a neat quilt, or a neat thing. So maybe I'll incorporate some of my tea bags with that, so like an unconventional kind of quilt. So I thought, why not? Now, the homework for this week, which I haven't started, is here's the linoleum.
Yeah, I don't like carving on that.
And this can also be on a board. You can buy this on a board, but he just gave us this for class. So I'm going to be doing this, and it'll be interesting. Now, last week, we just took a piece of cardboard, like the weight of a cereal box, right? Or, yeah, a cereal box. So it's a flimsy cardboard. And I just drew some images. We were told to draw images on it, and then we learned how to print with the cardboard. Now, I left the cardboard outside in the other room. But here's what I came up with, and I kind of screwed it up because I had printed it, I had planned it one way, and I'll show that to you in the blog. But when I printed it, because I have the shakes sometimes, that night I had the shakes, and I dropped one by accident, so it's just a little creepy. But this was the first time I'd ever done this. I've never done any of this before. So the mermaid was the first time I ever printed anything, the angel was the second time, and then this on fabric was the third. And this, I just started a, and then we ran out of time. So I didn't get any of the grapes done, I didn't get, you know, it's not well balanced, and it is not complete, but at least I started it.
It's very Carmen Miranda to me.
Well,
if anybody knows who that is. I'm not that old.
It's art. So anyway, it's just starting. And so what I really try to learn here, and for me anyway, was trying to, rather than just doing flat color like I did in the orange, I tried to mix some green and yellow. If you look at the red, you'll see I put red and blue, so the left part of this is bluish and the other part is light red, and the same with the banana is a little bit of green. So that's what I tried. So, you know, again, this is the first time I tried it. This was not the way it was supposed to look, but it's unfinished and I'm still going to try it. So I hope you like it. Right, Helen Marie, I am going to summer camp. Yeah, and Ronnie says popsicle sticks are next. I hate you guys. You are really mean.
We have those somewhere upstairs.
You are really mean. Now, speaking of arts and crafts, let me tell you something about what happened with Liza Lucy. So I got... popsicle sticks. What a bunch. Oh, man. So anyway.
You call it as they see it.
All right. Listen, I know. I could give it. I got to take it. I'm not even good at it. That's the best part. It's just a new technique. And by the way, I don't know what I'll do with this shit after I get it all. Stacy's doing lanyards.
Dryer lint.
Yeah, start doing dryer.
Yeah, we have a lot of that.
It's horrible. Anyway, so anyway, here's the thing. So Liza Lucy, speaking of Liza Lucy, hi, I was down at her house for some reason, and I can't remember what the reason was, and just visiting maybe, and I saw this bag and I said, oh my God, I love this bag. She goes, I'm selling these bags. I'm just selling these kits. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I need one of these. And she goes, well, it's not my bag, you know. I'd give it to you, but it's not my bag. I said, well, can I please take it just to show you guys during a Facebook Live? And she said, okay, great. And by the way, it's the easiest damn bag you'll ever imagine. I think you need to be a really confident beginner to do it. But if you do it step by step, because I've looked at it pretty carefully, it's pretty stunning, pretty easy, and it's great for us crafters who have to schlep all of our junk everywhere we go. Whether it's printmaking, or our needlework, or our quilting, or our crochet knitting. I love it. It's called, let me find it here. It's called the Mondo bag. Have you seen these? Now these are done with the K-Facet fabrics. Look, that's the inside.
My God, do you know how many popsicle sticks you could get in that bag?
You be quiet. So look at this. Isn't this pretty amazing? It's giant. It's a giant. Look, I can get my head and Mr. Electric's head in here. We could both, that's during our passion play of John the Baptist.
We'll start with you first.
That's right. But isn't this terrific? It's so neat. And it's just squares of fabric, and then you add these terrific
handles
on it, right? Look how big it is. You can get so much in here. Now, here's what I want to tell you about this. Liza is selling these as a kit. So she gave me a kit to show you. I'm bringing all this stuff back to Liza because I need no more fabric and I need no more anything. But although I have something to tell you. But anyway, so here's the kit. And so what you need for this kit, which is really neat, is you need the fabrics, and all the fabrics are in the kit. So if you look, here's the inner fabric, and then you'll see, where did I see them? All the different other fabrics for this particular colorway is in here. And then you need a fusible fleece. That also comes with it, and the pattern. Now the pattern for these Mondo bags, which I thought was sensational, and I love this company, and I love the woman, Maddie, and her husband, who actually run the company. It's called Quilt Smart. Now you know Quilt Smart. I even designed a quilt with them 100 years ago that was in McCall's magazine for Quilt Smart. And so here is the cover, and this is the Quilt Smart, and this is one that I actually had, that I bought, and for the Mondo bag. And so here's what Quilt Smart is. It's a fusible interfacing, which is pretty fabulous. Everything you need is right here. So you cut your squares. Do you see this? Here's your interfacing. Can you see how it's marked? And here's the sticky part. You cut your squares and you lay them on here, and then you iron them, right? You iron all your squares on. After your squares are on, you fold it and you sew your 1/4-inch seam on the lines. That way, when you open it back up, your seams are done. You're not really matching any seams. The seams are perfectly matched, and it's all ready. Then all you have to do is follow the directions as for their directions, see? And you just cut it out. It tells you where to sew, how to sew. Easy. It's like, well, yeah, Stacy, it's kind of like the watercolor quilts, except this has there's a rhyme or reason to this. So you put the squares on, you sew them up like the watercolor quilts, and then this tells you how to make this terrific bag. So, I just wanted to show it to you. I didn't even know what it was when I saw it. I just wanted to show you the bag. And then when she said she had a kit, I said, well, please let me just share it with you. So the pattern is called Quilt Smart Mondo bags. And you can get them along with the kit, the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle, from gloriouscolor.com. gloriouscolor.com. So go there, and they come in different colorways too. Liza and her little elves have different colorways, so you're going to want to do it. See, so there's all different kinds. This is for the handles. Can you see? Can you see this? See how easy that is? You just cut them out, cut out your strips, fuse them on, sew them up on the line, and cut them out. That's it, and sew them back together. So there's the Mondo bag, gloriouscolor.com. Go visit. It'll be a link on my website for it. I think it's a terrific idea. Don't you love that bag?
I like it, and there's one detail you didn't even show that I thought was kind of cool.
Oh, with the nice on.
There's a pocket on the inside.
Oh, and there's one I
nice.
didn't even notice. How's that? There's the pocket on the inside. So that's good. So that's where you put your rotary cutter and your glasses.
Your pretend family pictures.
Your pretend family pictures. He's such an idiot. Right? All right, so anyway, so that's that. But I think that's a great idea. I love that. Let me think what else is going to happen in here. I'm going to show you some things that people have sent to me. First of all, I want to thank you all for the Get Well cards. It's been a really tough couple of weeks. I've had cluster after cluster of migraines, and I got some not great news at the doctor just the other day. I'm just 0.2 points away, 0.2 points away from dialysis. We don't have a donor yet. Jeff is testing, so he had his colonoscopy. And so he comes back. What does the doctor
I cannot
say?
recommend those to anybody.
I love a colonoscopy.
Now, here was the scary part of that, all right? I went in, you just got to do what you got to do. I'm laying there, they've hooked my arm up, and just before I go under, I'm told, this is the Michael Jackson drug. And I just kind of...
I know, I'm like, give me double.
I was like stunned, like, why are you telling me this? He died from this. She goes, he loved it. And I went, yeah, but he's dead. Why would you tell me that? And the next thing I knew, I was under. It was
and
weird.
The doctor told Jeff that he was clean as a whistle.
Yep, he did.
And I'm like, Jeff is so anal retentive and his butt is so tight, there's nothing that's going into that. How could it not be clean? He can't even wash it. Anyway, so he's healthy, I'm healthy. All we need to do is just wait for the kidney. And what's probably going to happen, and you may not know this, Jeff and I actually tested as being the right blood type. But when they gave me the blood transfusions, during the histoplasmosis when I was next door to death. I mean, sometimes you just have to make a deal with the devil. So that last week before it was all over, they tried blood transfusions, and it introduced a protein that is rejected his blood type. So what we're doing now is Jeff is probably going to donate the kidney, and then we have to wait for somebody who will match me and do one of those exchanges. And just, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, something they did like 40, an exchange of 40 people.
Yeah, it was a 26-year-old kid that donated a kidney because his friend was in need.
Yeah.
His friend couldn't receive it, but it triggered 46 transplants happening.
Yeah, so
I mean,
that and the fact that it's the rainy season, so I'm hoping for motorcyclists without helmet and a can of beer. Did I say that? Oh well, we got to do what you got to do. So keep driving those motorcycles without a helmet, kids. Anyway, that's where we are. Anyway, I want to thank you for all the cards and the letters. It's so sweet to get them. Please save your money. I so know that you like me, and I so know you offer support, and I love that you just think about me. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Pat. But I also want you to know that I want you to save your money, and I want you to go buy ice cream or do something nice for yourself. You do not need to do this for me. I so appreciate it, but please do what you need to do, okay? For yourself and for your family. Also, I baked today. Did I tell you I baked? I made a new kind of cookie. I made up this recipe. I can't wait to have you try it. Here, take one.
Just one?
Well, take how many you want. All right, you want the recipe for this? These are so easy, and they're called my olive oil cookies. So, let me see if I can get the recipe. Look, so they're really, I hope you can see it. They're just these light cookies. The bottoms are light. Really easy to make. I make them right in my KitchenAid, and I'm going to put the recipe on my website. But I put 4 cups of flour into my KitchenAid bowl, 1 cup of sugar, and I put in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and that's it. All right. Then and some baking powder, a tablespoon of baking powder. Then I mix that all up with that little hook that looks like this, the dough hook. All right, I mix that all up. Then after it's all mixed up and I shake it, right? Then I add in a half a cup of milk, 2 eggs, 3/4 of a cup of olive oil, and then 1 teaspoon of lemon oil, 1 teaspoon of orange oil, and 1 teaspoon of almond oil. And you can use extracts, but I like the oil because it's a little more intense and the flavor holds up and it doesn't taste artificial. Then you just then you put on your machine until it gets into a big ball and everything's mixed up. Then you're going to get this big ball of dough, about this big. Then you just kind of take off about it, make little inch balls, 1.5 balls. Put it on, I put it on, what is that kind of paper called? Parchment paper. And then I get a glass, and I just flatten it just a little so you can see it's a little flat, it's not round. And then I bake it for about 10 minutes. That's it. And then when it comes out, I just mix the little sugar, confectioner's sugar and water, and maybe about a teaspoon of meringue powder so that it sticks on here actually and it gets a little crusty. I like that meringue powder, so it's like a really watered down royal icing. And that's it. And so these, and I did put like probably about half a teaspoon of lemon oil in this, but I think the next time, in the icing, but I think next time I won't do it, I'll just leave it. I might put a little bit, like a half a teaspoon of vanilla in it, so that way the flavors of all the oils inside the cookie actually come out. So I'll put that in, and I hope you like it.
I liked it even without the icing. I ate a lot of them last night.
They were really good without the icing. Yeah. So, here's what I do. I don't icing it like when they first come out. My grandma used to do stuff like that when they were warm, but I don't. So we ate them without the icing, and they were sweet enough, and they weren't too sweet, but they were just enough to satisfy a sweet tooth without being overly sugary. These are a lot more sweet now with the icing on. So try them without, and if you like them without, then don't put the icing on. But, whatever. That's what I did. And then I just put little jimmies on top, or these little nonpareils, these colored nonpareils. But you could put like jimmies on it,
What are jimmies? The long ones?
The long ones,
Right.
or sprinkles. They call jimmies is what we call them in Pittsburgh. And then I also like that really crunchy. Have you ever used that really crunchy? It's like sanding sugar, but it's big. It's kind of like a kosher salt, but it's sugar. It looks like a really coarse salt. So that would be really good on top of those too, I think. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's what I did, and it took me literally probably from beginning to end, maybe about 40 minutes, a half an hour for several dozen. They're really good. The only thing is, just know that they don't get really brown on the back. So if they're in there for 10 minutes, that's enough, and they'll seem still really kind of doughy. But as they cool, they get a little more. Debbie calls it big sugar. Hi, Deb. Deb and I are high school friends.
Big sugar.
Oh, Sherry says that jimmies are chocolate and sprinkles are multicolored. Oh, I didn't know that, Sherry. That's interesting. Well, in Pittsburgh, hillbillies, we call them everything. So anyway, so I like the sprinkles. I like the different colors. Helen Marie says jimmies are the long ones, which is why they're named Jimmy. Whoops, who said that? And sprinkles are the little round ones. All right, in Philadelphia. But Sherry's from Philadelphia too, Helen Marie. Okay, so let's see what else happened. Let me see what else is going on here. This past weekend, so I told you about the kidney. I'm probably going to be doing I'm getting a test in 2 weeks, another blood test, and if it goes higher, those 0.2 points, I am going to have to be admitted to the hospital and have the ports put in for the dialysis. And I have decided, based on my research and talking with people, that I'm going to do the home dialysis. So rather than having the port up here, that is a hemodialysis, which is for the blood, which they take out the blood and you have to go somewhere. You could do it at home, I guess, but it's a little more complicated. And it's much more restrictive in terms of what you can eat and what you can do, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to have the port put in here, which is the stomach, and that way you're able to travel and do stuff, and you're also able to, well, that's if you feel okay. Generally, the people who are on dialysis are pretty wiped out, but some people do work. And it's salt water that kind of goes into my stomach all night long, and it goes in and flushes out, goes in, flushes out. So I'll have to do it every night.
Is that?
I think it's 10 hours a day, I think. Oh, it's a fistula, is that what it is? I don't know what this stuff is called. But anyway, so I am going to, PD. PD is the water one, right? The stomach. So I'm going to do the stomach one, which is a little different. Some weird thing when you're at home, I think there's this place in Iowa. Wait till you hear this. This is so like Big Brother and weird. But you log in with them and they kind of watch you. They monitor you all during your progress, during your dialysis, so you don't keel over. And also, if you have the blood hemodialysis at home, the one with the fistula, what happens is that somebody has to be home with you because you could bleed out, and I can't really depend on somebody being here all the time, so I think I'm just going to do the one at night. So,
God, between my CPAP machine and your dialysis, it should be really noisy.
I know, it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show here. I mean, if there's it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like the White House. If you're indicted, you're invited. So anyway, that's that. Speaking of going out and traveling, I had the most wonderful time. I had retired really from going out because I just couldn't do it. And that's right, Diana. It's called perinatal, something like that. Anyway, what happened is I went to lecture. I did a lecture at this place, this guild called the Homemakers Country Quilters in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, where I did a slow stitching lecture for I think I spoke for 3 hours. And the poor women all died, and there were
because it was so long.
It was so long. It was so long, and they were all. I mean, honestly, I think they just all died from fatigue from just listening to me bullshit for all that long. But I hadn't been out in so long, and I haven't talked to a stranger in so long. I had to keep talking. So, and Peritonal? Okay, anyway, whatever it is, I'm having this tube put in my stomach. And the nurses were teasing me like, oh, well, he just doesn't want his stomach to get bigger, but it is what it is. So anyway, I went to the Homemakers Country Quilters in Collegeville, PA, where they were having their annual tea party. It was so cute. First of all, the place was packed. It's a great organization, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And because I usually don't bring up about different places, but they all wore hats that they made, like tea hats, hysterical. Some of them were so funny. Some of them were some of them were absolutely gorgeous, and some of them looked like toilet paper covers over somebody's head. Fabulous. But what happened with
You're so in luck that you already had one, right? You didn't have to make one.
I know, right. So anyway, and then they had this giant potluck of all this, well, it's near Lancaster, so it was all this food like this rhubarb cake, and stuff that was kind of like Amishy, German, because it's a real German kind of area, Pennsylvania Dutch kind of area, like Protestant. It was the stuff was just the food was delicious, and just a ton of it. And these women were so nice. It was an older crowd, but so nice. But what I wanted to tell you about this particular guild, and I'm going to put the link to their website and to their newsletter. Make sure you take a look at it for your own guild or your own organizations. These people are quilters, yes, but talk about humanitarians. They do, if you can donate, they've done it, and they're doing it. And when you come to their meetings, they ask you to bring, and people they brought food stuff for the food bank. They get charged a little bit for this room, They decided to give them thousands of dollars more that they had made through sales and different fundraising events that they had. You have never seen a more generous, open, sweet, talented group of quilters. Now, Helen Marie Marshall, who's here with us today, and she's also a slow stitcher. I spent time with us, and we've been friends for a while. It's her guild, and so it was really nice to see her. But I just want to tell you, it's a place, if you're going to be in a guild, or your guild's feeling a little tired, or you are in another organization that might need a little pump in the arm, or you want to start your own guild or whatever, just read through their stuff, because I was blown away. I've never seen another guild like it. There are guilds like that, but this was a really spectacular guild. Now, I did my talk, and then I was so exhausted. I was going to leave right after the talk. It was early in the morning. It was easy driving. It was only about an hour away from me, so I thought I could handle it. But honestly, I slept for 3 days after it. I was wrecked. But I have to tell you something that I did on the way home, which you're going to just die when I tell you this. Are you ready? So my friend Bonnie, who passed away, my best friend Bonnie Espenshade, died in November. And she was my, between Bonnie and Kidney Mary, like there was like 3 freaks on the road, right? We would just do, get in the road and we go places that we normally wouldn't do by ourselves. So on the way home from this Collegeville, Pennsylvania, I had to come up through Pennsylvania and go through Allentown to get back here to Long Valley, New Jersey. Well, don't you think I was going to be driving through a place called Coopersburg, Pennsylvania, which is 3 miles south of Allentown. So what's so exciting about Coopersburg, Pennsylvania? Well, Bonnie and I and Kidney Mary got last summer, I guess, before Bonnie died, we got in a car and we went to the National Shrine of Padre Pio, whom, by the way, I have no idea who Padre Pio is, but I have this fabric idea. Hi, Suzette. This fabric idea. And I wanted to do a relic, do relics or little altar things or whatever. I have this needlepoint idea that I'm working on. All right. So anyway, I go to Padre Pio with a fat porter. Now, I always hear about Catholic. Helen Marie says they donate thousands to the 4-H Foundation too. That particular guild. And by the way, I came home with a pig. But we won't say her name. Oops. Anyway. I know I'll never get booked again. Anyway, so on my way home, So that was something that we did. Now a Catholic relic, I'm not really sure what it is. I always thought a relic was a bone, right? So that's a first class relic of a bone of a saint, or the shard of the Holy Cross, or Veronica's veil, or all that kind of stuff. They take your jaw, your tooth, or whatever. That's a first class relic. A second class relic is something that has touched that. So, or touched the physical part of the saint. So if I became a saint, this shirt would become a second class relic. The fact that my shirt is, or Jeff Turner has touched me, you know, his shirt would be a second class relic. My laptop, everything would be a second class relic, all right? So then there's something called the third class relic, and that is, honestly, I hope I don't get struck by lightning. It's a little cheesy. So if you take...
Do I need to move?
No, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you go into like a shrine, any kind of shrine, you can look it up on Google, that's how I found out. But if you just go to a shrine or to a burial place, and you just put like your rosaries on the tomb, so something that touched something is now a third class relic. So I went to see Padre Pio with Mary and Bonnie. We went to the Padre Pio Museum, and his crypt is there, or not a crypt, it's a giant crypt actually, but there's only a little bone fragment in it. And so I put my fat quarter on top of that, so that's a third relic, Padre Pio. So here's what happened. A while ago, and I don't know, I think I saw it on YouTube or something, but I said to Bonnie, because Bonnie lives closer to Allentown than I did, and I said, oh my God, Bonnie, there's this saint in Allentown. And we're like, Allentown, Pennsylvania? We're like, yeah. Oh, I know what happened. There was this miracle that I found on like, I don't know, Unsolved Mysteries from somebody from Phillipsburg, New Jersey, which is right near Bonnie. So I said, oh my God, there was this miracle in Phillipsburg. So we're both watching YouTube. And just out of curiosity, and then that's how I found out about this place in Coopersburg. To make a long story short, or longer, there was this woman, a German woman, who immigrated to the United States. She was a Carmelite nun, and her name was Mother Teresa of Jesus. She was a Carmelite, just like Saint Teresa, or Saint Therese, who was also a Carmelite. All right, so she came to the United States, and she founded this Carmelite order and started a convent in this Collegeville, Pennsylvania, for the Carmelites. And it's a cloister, which means these are these women who go in and you never see them again. That's it. They're inside. So now, here's what happened. Here's what I found out on the internet. And then I went to go see this woman. So this Mother Teresa died in 1939, right? So so apparently she's now buried at this Carmelite place, at this cloister. So I wanted to see it, but you can't because it's in a cloister. And if you want to, you have to make an appointment. But I was driving right through, and so I thought, well, maybe the church is open and I can just kind of peek in. So I drove through it, and I get there, and here's just me, and this gardener is leaving. And of course, they see this strange car come in, and they said, can I help you? And I said, I'm here to see the tomb of Mother Teresa. And he said, well, the sisters are in prayer until 3 o'clock, but if you just wait, if you could wait like 20 minutes or so, then I'll see if Mother Superior will allow you to come in, or to just look at it. I'm like, all right. So meanwhile, I had stopped at Walmart in Coopersburg to get a fat quarter so I could bring it in for Bonnie and me. So I waited. He puts me in this bookstore. It's all by honor system. Now, here's the weird thing. When you walk into this cloister, and by the way, it's this walled place. It's like a fort, and you can look over and see fruit trees and roofs and churches and but you can't get in. And when you're in this bookstore where the public is allowed, or even inside the church, it's big, like bars, crisscross bars, and with a fabric behind it. So if they're going to talk to you, you talk to them from behind the sheet through the bars, right? Through this black fabric. You don't see them. So I wanted to buy this book because by the way, let me show you who this woman is. This is her. This is Mother Teresa of Jesus, right? This is the woman who's in the tomb that I went to go see. So I wanted to buy this book, which is just a couple of bucks, but and it tells her whole life story and whatever. So while I was waiting there, so when you go to pay for it, you have to put your money in. They have this Lazy Susan that looks like a wine barrel. It's big, and it spins. And imagine a wine barrel with about 12 inches cut out of one side of it, right? Horizontal or vertically. You put your money into the wine barrel and you spin it, and it goes into the nuns. And that's also when people make donations of food for these women, when they get prayer requests, their mail, anything, so they never have to touch people and they never see people. You put it in these things and you turn it. Isn't that just so wild? It's kind of like a prayer wheel, but it's not really. It's this weird stuff. Yeah, that's the revolving door, Helen Marie. That's what I'm talking about, this revolving door. So anyway, prayer is over, and this gardener finds me, and he says, okay, you can go in. The Mother Superior is giving you a chance to go in. I'm like, really? So now I'm in the inner sanctum. Oh, Lordy. I am in the inner sanctum, and they take me down this hall. And it's like a railroad apartment, right? Which means like a main hall on the left, and then a series of rooms on the right. So it was room, 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 then big room. The first room was just a chair and one of those jail cell looks. So that's a visiting room where you can talk to somebody. And then the second room, which is also a visiting room, but they built this big marble table, sarcophagus, tomb, and that's where this Mother of Jesus is. So, I mean, this was so fascinating to me because nobody knew me. I mean, I just showed up. I didn't even know what the hell I was there for, really, except to kind of go because Bonnie and I were going to go, and then she got sick and died. And we were going to go like within a week or two, and then she died very suddenly. So I get in there, and so I pull out my rosaries, and I say my rosary, and I put my fat quarter from Walmart on the tomb. And you're going to laugh why this all happened. I mean, there's a reason for my madness. It wasn't just because this nun started, this Carmelite started this monastery. So when I come out, the guy said, you know, I saw Mother, they call her Mother Therese of Jesus. I saw Mother Therese. And I'm like, you did? Because he's my age. She died in 1939. I wasn't born until 57. So I'm like, what's going on here? Now, I read a little bit about it. Here's the deal. So, when I looked over, we were in the parking lot, he goes, look over there. So I look over the wall, and behind the wall is what looks like a garage, like a regular freestanding thing, a garage, but all I could see was the roof part of it. And it was all in that kind of roof that you guys had in San Diego. What's that called?
Terracotta tile?
Yeah, like the pipes, those terracotta pipes in California? That's what was sticking up. So it just looked like a California style. By the way, the whole thing looks like California style, although they were all German. Even Mother Therese, who immigrated from Germany. These magnificent stained glass windows in this church were all made in Germany and shipped to the United States. All right. So apparently, this woman built this thing, headed up this Carmelite order, and this garage was a mausoleum. And so all of the nuns who were in the cloister who died just went from living in these little cells into this mausoleum, right? So the caretakers, now this woman died in 1939. So the caretakers were cleaning up for the nuns out in this place. And I can't really remember specifically, but this is what the guy told me because he was working there at the time. In 2001, they were taking down a tree. And the tree got loose and it crashed into the top of the mausoleum. This is 2001. Well, these guys were horrified and they went to check the damage and the tree went right through the top of the mausoleum. Well, here, the tombs were broken. Some of the tombs were broken, and Mother Therese of Jesus was one of those tombs that were broken. There were several. And so when they went to look, all these open tombs, these women have been dead for 60, 70, 80 years. They're all decayed. It's all gross and creepy, right? Except Mother Therese of Jesus was not. Not only, after 63 years, was she not, decomposed, but the ferns that she was buried with, the fern leaves, were still green. How do you like that? So this guy, I'm like, all right, I have my purple, I have my third relic. But here's the thing that was really weird. Now that's in the Catholic Church, that's called the Incorruptibles. And if you Google Incorruptibles, they'll show you all these saints that are incorruptible, which really aren't, I mean, some of them look pretty corrupted to me, but, I mean, read about it. At any rate, so he says he was doing this work around, he was working there at the time as their gardener, and the Mother Superior at the time in 2001 said, I'd like to show you something. So he said, what? She goes, meet me in the receiving room, which it's that down the end of that hall. So I went into the one hallway. Remember, I went down that hall. The second room was where they built this tomb, this new tomb for this Mother Therese. And then the last room in the back, which he showed me, was this big room with, like, it looked like a picture window, but the picture window had all bars and curtains. But here, at that time, Mother Superior at that time, whoever the hell she is, opened the drapes, and there they had Mother Teresa of Jesus, 63 years dead, all laid out before they put her into this tomb. And there she was. And so he said, I saw her. Isn't that weird? Now that doesn't make you a saint, just being incorrupt. I mean, who knows? I mean, so now what they are doing, however, is researching to see if she's had any miracles attached, blah, 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 blah. And there are
Doesn't it just mean you had a really great embalming job?
I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they do that. Listen, honestly, if I didn't meet this guy, I'm telling you, I'm not sure I would have believed it. Now, I have read it, and I've read it. I'll even put a picture. They even have a picture of her in her coffin somewhere here. I know in this book there were pictures of her. And anyway, then he let me go into this church, which I thought, okay, so it's a church, right? And I literally gasped. It was so beautiful. I haven't seen a church like that in a million years. Anyway, I'll put up the website, but it was just kind of fascinating, and I don't know. Anyway, that's where I was. So on my way home, so I went there and I got my thing. So now I have a third relic. Oh, by the way, it is the shrine of Saint Teresa of Lisieux, I guess, or Saint Therese of Lisieux. So the truth is, that's the relic. It's for her, not for the Mother. But I thought, why not? So isn't that weird, right? All right. So now, having said that, let me show you some other things that are going on. Oh, speaking of giving lectures, I am going to be giving 2 lectures, one on June 24th and one on June 25th, an hour and a half each, at the historic Cold Spring Village in Cape May, New Jersey, which is right on the ocean. It's a beautiful little Victorian town, and it is their quilt and fiber art show in this historic village that's kind of saved, so there's an old schoolhouse and there's an old, so it's quilt show, it's fiber dyeing, it's all that kind of stuff. And Mr. Electric is actually going to be selling his books at the general store of Who Broke the Vase. Yeah, and I'll be giving the lecture. Now, I wasn't going to do it because I just don't have the energy based on this last one, but Jeff is actually going to be off, so he's going to drive me down, and I'll just give the lecture and I'll go back to the hotel. And
No, I thought you were driving.
No, I'm not driving. I'm not driving back. No, you're blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so that is June 24th and 25th. So they feature demonstrations according to this, and vendors of quilting, textiles, knitting, crocheting, basket weaving, broom making, wool dyeing, sheep shearing, and more. June 24th and 25th in historic Cold Spring Village. On Saturdays, visitors may vote for their favorite quilts in the Welcome Center at the Viewer's Choice Quilt Show. And on Sunday, continue to enjoy the display and see the winners. There's this rare wedding quilt from 1714, wow. Handmade by Cape May, what is that?
A Countian?
Countian, Sarah Spicer.
Oh, if you're from a county?
Oh, yeah, Countian. Yeah,
Countian.
Cape May Countian, right. Sarah Spicer, who may be related to Sean Spicer. The quilt was restored in 2012 through a grant from the Cape May County Culture and Heritage Commission. And regional vendors are attending with quilting and sewing fabrics, yarns, baskets, supplies, and equipment to help inspire the creation of heirloom projects. Doesn't that sound fun? So, Ruth, good. Maybe I'll see you there, huh? All right, so I gave you my cookie thing, my cookie recipe. That'll be there. Okay, I got this book in. This is an unproofed copy, but I'll show it to you. It's called Stress-Free Pattern Play for Relaxation. It's called Zen Doodle Calm, and it is on sale in October, so you're getting a really early look at it, and it is kind of a coloring book. But you're supposed to make you Zen doodle inside each of the pieces. So rather than just coloring, you get the Zen tangle or Zen doodle inside each of them. Isn't that neat?
So you're doing the pattern inside the shapes.
You're doing
right?
the pattern inside the shapes and then coloring. I think that's kind of a neat idea. I like it better than coloring, actually. It actually gives you a little something to do. And makes you work a little. And I like that. I think that's kind of neat. So anyway, it's a nice little book. Let's see what it says. It's going to be $12. And it is, let's see, I'm going to figure out who, I don't know, it's by Felicity French and Lauren Farnsworth, and I don't know them, but I'm trying to figure out who is in fact publishing it. Plume, by Plume. Anyway, I'll give you all the information, and I'll remind you again in October that this is coming out. But it's kind of a neat idea. And you know what? It's a neat idea for you to do that yourself, even with all those coloring pages you have. Why aren't you filling them in with Zen doodles and Zen tangles, right? That's what I think. Gee, honestly, the hour went so quickly already. I wanted to show you some other stuff. I do want to show you this. This is so funny. I got a card from Kathy McEntee. And Kathy lives in Troy, Michigan. And it was just a little note, a very sweet note from Kathy. And she sent me this thing. Out comes out this, well, let me read what she says. In the meantime, she writes me something. She goes, in the meantime, I'm sending along something that I hope will make you smile. No, Kathy, it didn't. It made me scream with laughter. I found this matchbook from the 1940s, 50s in my dad's cufflink box. As you can see, there are no females in the graphic. And the quote is, where friends meet, at the Jolly Taxpayer Hotel. No area code on the phone number. I figured that there isn't much in the way of vintage gay memorabilia and hope you'll get a kick out of this. Hope it brings a smile to you today. Take good care, fondly, Kathy McEntee. And boy, did it ever. So here's the Jolly Taxpayer Motel, and it's in Vancouver, and here's where friends come to meet.
Special friends, huh?
Special friends come to meet. I know. Speaking of cloisters, so that's that. I do want to tell you something else. I'm going to put this stuff online. I want to say I got a catalog from Checker distributors. Go tell your local quilt shops to order this and go buy some. And I was shocked to see it, frankly, because I never really opened these up. Oh, damn, where is it? So anyway, it's all the stuff, wholesale stuff for, you know, my blog and for my store. And what did I find here? Oh, yeah. The Mark Lipinski Basics collection.
Oh, how cool.
Is on sale right now. So tell your local quilt shop to order it from Checker. It's on sale right now. It's the Basics collection. It's a fabulous collection of RFL threads. If you don't have it, you need it. We sell it at my shop. I prefer you buy it from your local shop. Keep them in business. They need their brick and mortars need you more than I need you right now. Not that I just want them to stay in business. It's a great thing of thread. I got my latest Uppercase magazine, which I love, and they have something in here that I think should all, well, I know that I'm interested in, and I know it will make Jeffrey Turner out of his mind.
What is it?
Well, I already have the stuff, so it's not like I have to do anything.
Here we go.
It's wood burning.
No!
Wouldn't you love to learn how to wood burn? I think wood burning would be so much fun. You wood burn it in the different colors. So anyway, there's a little article in here on wood burning. By the way, I have no affiliation with Uppercase, but I do love this magazine. I love it. I love everything about it. I love all. It is so inspirational. I want to tell you, it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap at all. It's like $100 a year or something like that. And this is the first time I ever subscribed to it. I used to pay like $16 an issue every once in a while. But honestly, it is so inspiring. I just can't stand it. So consider looking at it at least online. Another thing that I just got, I think that is interesting, is this book. Now this is an old book. I've had this book forever. It's by Gwen Marston, and it is the Mary Schaefer American Quilt Maker. And in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, at the Mercer Museum, Gwen just spoke, and I missed it because I had a migraine and I couldn't go. I was just sick to miss her and sick physically. But there's a whole exhibit of Mary Schaefer inspired quilts there by Gwen Marston at the Mercer Museum in Doylestown, New Jersey. So if you're around, go see it. So this book is really a nice, hefty, beautiful book. If you could get it, I bet you can get it for nothing online at this point. But it's called Mary Schaefer, American Quilt Maker, and she's really, they're calling her like the woman who is responsible for the revival of the quilt movement, you know, the new quilt movement as we know it. Something else I got. Did you get this? It's a spoonflower catalog. Not only can you print your own fabric at Spoonflower, which you know I hate, but you can also buy, there's now selling fabrics. They're selling yardage of other people's designs. Now, I don't know how this works. I don't know whether whether Spoonflower actually designed the fabric and you're buying it from Spoonflower, or whether people like you are designing fabrics and then Spoonflower is splitting some kind of profit sharing with you. I don't know how it works. I didn't read it. I know that I've used Spoonflower before. I didn't like it twice that I've used it, and I won't be ordering from here, but I do think it's an interesting thing. And I bet, and I'll tell you my bottom line, I bet my bottom dollar that someday this is how we're going to be ordering fabric. We're not going to be going to a shop, but we're going to be ordering fabric, and it's going to be custom printed.
Although I went through that catalog. They have a lot of different kinds of fabric.
Oh, Lisa says she gets a percentage, which is good. Good for Spoonflower. Good for them.
So they've expanded the kind of fabrics they sell too, which is interesting.
Well, again, we can only talk from what we last saw. So
right.
Which we last did, which was in December, was the last time I did Spoonflower, and it was the same as the first time. I just didn't like the hand of it. I don't like the way I like a better dye, I guess. But you know, again, it's good in a pinch. It's good I think it's good if you're using really graphic kind of things. But if you're looking for something a little more fine, yeah, I think it's a little more difficult. That was my experience. I got my Sew News, and this, by the way, is another really underestimated magazine. It's a skinny little magazine. I love it. I'm a quilter. I do not sew, but I always find great projects in Sew News, and that really inspire me or kind of move me to quilting, just different things here that are whether it's embroidery or, a lot of other kinds of things rather than just making this dress on the cover, for instance, or, but there are bags and there's embroidery. I'm just saying, maybe when you're out shopping, just pick up a Sew News, because you wouldn't normally if you're not as a quilter. I didn't pick this up for 100 years, and all of a sudden I started picking it up, and I really enjoy what they have in here. And you can make your own things. Of course, they're not in plus sizes, and they're probably younger than what most of my followers or audience would be wearing. But there's a lot of stuff a lot of kind of stuff that is not just doing more patchwork. So I'm going to show you that. Now, let's talk about the Who Broke the Vase quilt. I finally finished the Who Broke the Vase quilt, and it will be going up this week. The reason it hasn't been going up is because there's a certain fabric that I ordered for the binding that, as far as I'm concerned, pulls the whole quilt together, and it hasn't been in checker. It was supposed to come in on the 19th, and then I should be getting it. It's already ordered, it's already paid for. As soon as that comes in, I'm going to post everything. I think whether it comes in or not, I may do pre-orders this week on the website. The quilt will be somewhere about $75, I think, is what I came up with. It's some right around there, either a couple dollars less or a couple of dollars more for the kit, which is just the top and the binding. But let me show this to you, and it'll all be on the website. Jeff, can you move your chair? I'm going to see if I can do this. We just hung it from the window, so I have no idea what we're going to see. I'm going to turn this around so we can see this, and then I'm going to do that. Ah, well, that's not so good. So there's the quilt right there. So that's the Who Broke the Vase quilt. And it's a terrific quilt. It's a nice big size, as you can see, but not too big. It has all the characters from the book, and it's really a fun piece. It's easy to make. You can make it really in a weekend. It's that easy. It's all raw edged applique. It is and that's really easy. All of the templates for it is already reversed, so all you have to do is trace it onto your fusible and then cut it out. There's no like switching it back and forth and all that kind of stuff. It's all pieced, so there's no inset seams, even though it could look that way from the way it's put together, but it's not. It's just very, very, very easy to do. You just sew up, after all the blocks are done, you just sew up the 4 different sections of this quilt, and then sew the 4 sections together, and it's done. Now you can see I chose the black and white striped fabric on the bias, very difficult to find, and that's why it's out of stock. And I tried several different vendors, and this is the best one, and it's the most cost-effective one, and so that is what it's going to be.
And I like it because it really encapsulated what happened inside of the book. It feels just like the book. And all of these actually are almost direct lists from the book, right? I mean, it's
most of them,
same positioning. So if you have a kid that's looked at the story, they're going to see it reflected in here. So
also, the colors that I chose match exactly. I mean, I'm going to offer the pattern so that you can get the pattern. You could buy it yourself, but just the pattern without the kit. But all of these fabrics match identically to the book. And by the way, because I hate kits myself, not that I hate them, but I've never really trusted them. Can you imagine I'm saying this? So let me just tell you that I am not, the markup is there is no markup. I mean, it is, what I paid for it is what you're paying it for. I mean, you're paying the retail value that is not, marked up beyond what is the manufacturer's retail price. So that's it. I'm not marking it up for a fat quarter. I'm not marking it up for a quarter of a yard or 2 cuts or 3 cuts. That's just not what I'm doing. I'd rather you make the quilt than the extra $3 or $5 I get for marking it up. It's just not worth it. Not to me anyway. So that's that. And I will put all that kind of stuff. She can see it. She can see the quilt, Diane. Oh no, she died? I'm sorry. Oh, I guess I knew that. I'm sorry. I wish you could see it too. Isn't it weird when people pass on? It breaks my heart. That's what I said. I'm still not over Bonnie, although frankly I'm starting to sew again, which is really nice. And thanks to people like Linda Lum de Bono and Meg Cox and Jill Edwards, who actually supported me by going to these new classes with me, that I'm just not hermiting in here. Now it's been hard because I don't feel well, but it's good to go. Do you have any questions about any of this stuff? Any of the quilt, about any of the stuff that I showed you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm happy to answer. You can just And when I post this, just write a comment, and I'll be happy to answer all the comments after this is done. Now, one more thing I just want, oh, I know what I need to tell you. This is really important, really important. Folks, when I was in Franklin, North Carolina, where I taught, in my class was a woman named Jane Lemley. Her name was Jane Lemley, and she had me sign or autograph something. After I came back from North Carolina, this is a good year or more ago, after I came back from North Carolina, no, the copy of the book does not come with the quilt kit. The book is different, is a different thing. And you'll see, you could buy if you buy the book, the pattern is one price. If you don't buy the book, the pattern is another price, and the kit is all by itself. All right, so I do, Darlene wants to know if I touch each of the kits, they become 4th level relics. They do indeed. I think they become 3rd level relics. I think they're actually 3rd. Actually, I'll put this on all the fabric. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, I have it all piled over here in the corner. Can you see all the different fabrics? I'm just waiting for that one fabric to come in.
You know, actually, with your birthday coming up, you would be the relic. So if you just touch it, you'll be good. You'll be good.
Horrible. Anyway, so anyway, Jane Lemley, let me tell you, so I did this autograph. Well, don't you think that she wrote me after this, right afterwards, and said, do you have, speaking of dying mothers, really, she says, did you have my pen? It was a wooden pen, and it was my mother's who passed away, and I looked everywhere for this pen, and I'm like, I don't have it. I do not have this pen at all. And I said, I'm really sorry, and I felt just terrible about it. And she said, well, it was sentimental, but I understand. That's okay. I guess it was just a sign. Okay, so here's what happens. So I'm giving this lecture down in Coopersburg the other day, or Collegeville, and I go into my bag to where I was giving my lecture, my PowerPoint lecture, my camera bag, and I just dumped everything out. Oh, look what came out. The wooden pen, Jane Lemley. So what happened was, don't you know, because I'm a hoarder, even with my mail, I typed in missing pen, North Carolina. Don't you think it came up in my mail? And I wrote to Jane and I said, listen, I have a surprise for you. Call me. Here's my phone number. Call me. I have a surprise. She never called. I don't know whether she has a different email address. I don't know whether she moved. I don't know whether she's ill. I don't know whether she herself has passed away. I haven't heard from her. And so if you're in Franklin, North Carolina, or on the west side of North Carolina or the east side of Tennessee, and you know Jane Lemley, please let her know that I have her pen, and it is now a 4th level relic to St. Therese Lisieux. And that I can't wait to get it to her. I cannot wait to get it to her. Isn't that funny how that works?
I think it's amazing that it was in there.
I know, years later. So her mother wants her to have her pen back. So let's get it back to Jane Lemley. I do not have her address, or else I would send it. I don't. So that's why I'm asking you guys from North Carolina to look for Jane Lemley, Lemley, and let her know. Let her know Daddy's looking for her. Okay. One more thing, and I wasn't going to get into it, but I am going to get into it. Here we go. We're talking about the conservative quilters group that's killing all of Facebook. All right. I've been getting killed with messages about this, about who, what, where, when. I have stayed out of the fray, although I do know I had been mentioned in that hate groups thing. And I also know that I had blocked somebody from that group a long time ago. Because she had posted on my Facebook page, and I thought, listen, I don't care what people post on my Facebook page, as you know that. I don't really care. But whether you agree with me or not, and I think I'm pretty tolerant. But did you ever get the sense that somebody was just a little half-baked? Well, that's the sense I got, and so I blocked her. And here we go, several months later, all hell breaks loose. But I do want to say just one more thing. First of all, I don't think this is an issue between just conservative and liberal politics. I mean, it may look that way, but it's not. I don't think all conservatives are assholes, and I don't think all liberals are good. I think there are an equal amount of assholes on both sides of the fence, and I think there are an equal amount of good people on both sides of the fence. So let's remember that. Let's also remember that these are Facebook posts, right? And that we need to, if you don't want people to come after you, you have to watch what you're going to say, number one. And I think that people who are writing these horrible things, and some of that has really been really ugly, even attacking little children, the people's little children, which I find reprehensible. Anyway, you got to be like stupid to write shit like that on the internet. You just don't do it. It doesn't go away. People are going to tell you. But this isn't, again, you could use religion, you could use politics as a reason for your hate, but we know that's not it, because many conservatives are wonderful people, and many liberals are wonderful people. It's not about where you stand politically or religiously or whatever. It's about how you treat each other. So this isn't about liberal quilter versus conservative quilter. It's really about whether you're a nice person or whether you're a bitch. That's all there is to it, or just an idiot. Now, having said all of that, there's another thing I'm going to point out. Not everybody, the list of names have been published about who was in this hate group. And while there have been some really nasty stuff written, and I've read it, that people have written, and they need to be held accountable for this kind of stuff, because I take some of it very personally. When somebody is writing an old limp-wristed gaywad, you wonder what she thinks about, the Pollocks, the Dagos, the Spicks, the Chinks. You know what I mean? What does she think about that? I mean, it's just gross. It's gross, and I take that personally. But, I also know that Facebook is just Facebook. And that is that I belong to many groups that I've clicked, yeah, I'll join the group. I've never visited them. I don't know what's in those groups. I don't know what they're saying. They could all be, they could be, mini Hitlers for all I know, or they could hate whatever. And yet, by my just clicking like their page, I'm guilty by association. So I think we need to be really careful about that kind of stuff. Because, all of us, I'm sure, belong to groups that we're not really that active in online. And so you just can't paint everybody with a broad brush. Now, there are some people whose stuff has been written that have been really horrible and hideous. And I'm not going to mention their names. I'm not. If you want to see them, those texts, they're easy enough to find online. I'm not going to do it. But I also think, what I find very interesting, and there's a number of points I want to make about this, is that, I keep reading, can't we just quilt? Or, quilters are always such nice people. Well, I want to ask you this. I want to kind of ask you, in what alternate universe are quilters always nice? Yeah, I've met and witnessed some amazing goodness from some of the most wonderful people in the quilt world, women, men, who I can only aspire to be like, right? In terms of like their talent, their spirituality, their grace, their generosity, their humor, their soulfulness, their kindness, their ethics, their character. These are people, I've met a gazillion people who I can only, that I'm not worthy to touch the hem of their robe, if you will. But I've also met and experienced and heard some astounding stories of some of the grandest, backbiting battle axes that ever walked the planet. And I personally, have to keep my distance from these people. And I do. I keep my distance from these nasties by either unfriending or blocking or simply ignoring them. As a matter of fact, Turner, I'm wearing dipshit repellent right now. The thing is, and what I've decided to do was, with the exception of people that I actually knew, and by the way, I didn't really know any of these people. I don't know them. I know that I was mentioned, but I don't really know many of them. And there are a couple of them that were my Facebook friends for a long time whom I really liked, and I just don't believe it of them. and who have been open about their politics, which are very different than mine, which I don't really give a shit. If that's fine with them. It's fine with me. It doesn't define them as a person. But the rest of the people on this list, and I'm not blocking, I didn't just unfriend, because I did have some friends there who were not very active on my Facebook page. I blocked them all. I blocked the whole list, and I'll tell you why. When you subscribe to that kind of hate, I don't even want somebody to know that I exist. I don't want to share any good part of me. Nothing. You're not worth it. And so that's how I feel about blocking people. Now, you know, I've blocked maybe not very many people in the 10 years I've been on Facebook. I don't like to block. That's not my thing. But at some point, when people, some members of this group have come to my page who are not my friends, who are not following me, there's no connection at all, just to come to my page to cause trouble, their asses were gone. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is this, to remember, again, not everybody's an asshole. Look through all the groups that you belong to and weed them out, because you don't know. If you're not active, then you're guilty by association, in spite of what it is. Even if it's, you know, I don't know, a reading group. You don't know what they're discussing. And then, folks, if you are, in fact, either liberal or you are, in fact, politically conservative, I mean, and you want to be part of the resistance, then man up. I mean, if you want to be able to post what your opinions are, and you're opposed to it, and you want to sway public opinion, or you're appalled by what's going on in the government, that's what the First Amendment is about. Don't let, I'm going to upset somebody, upset you, and silence you. That's ridiculous. If you want to be part of the resistance movement, then don't, I read today on somebody's thing, you shouldn't mix politics and business, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You know what? That's just bullshit. And maybe I'm just different because I am very transparent and it hasn't always worked for me. And maybe it's because after the Quilter's Home magazine, I got so much hate mail and so much homophobia pointed at me and was canceled because I was gay or canceled because I was liberal, that I really don't give a shit. And that's the beauty of dying. That's the beauty of being in stage 5 kidney failure, because you don't. And guess what? You may not be active, have something horribly wrong with you. The truth is, you could be hit by a Mack truck. Live your life so that it's important. Live your truth. Live your honesty. And don't be a big sissy. Women have fought for years to be strong and equal and have their right to vote and have their voices heard. And now is not the time to shut up just because a group of women have decided to be nasty. That's just my opinion. Anyway, that's that. Anything else? And we're going to go. I can't believe I talked for an hour and a half and Jeff Turner hasn't said one damn word.
Well, it was kind of hard to get in there, but can I address one thing about living your truth? Because I hear that term a lot. Shut up.
Well, I mean living my truth.
Yeah, but living your truth shouldn't give you license to say that you can go and hate people. That's not being truthful. That's trying to legitimize your bias.
All right, listen.
Right?
Honestly, but can I tell you something? Look, let's be honest. We all hate somebody. We all do. Now, I think that the line was crossed when these people decided to start writing to people to not hire them. But I've had that happen to me. I mean, I taught at AQS. Some woman wrote the most vile letter to the Quilt Alliance about my class and about me and how horrible they were for having me on their board of directors. This is years ago. They also wrote to the AQS, which didn't even have the common courtesy to let me know. Never even said anything. That's why AQS is not kind of on my shit list. And because I think that if you engage a teacher and you get a bad review, they should be able to tell you. What was interesting is that after it was shared with me, I got a letter 2 or 3 days later saying it was the best class they'd ever taken, and would I mind if they taught that class at their guild? I mean, you know what I mean?
But it comes down to the same thing. Whose life are you supposed to be living? You're supposed to be living your own. If somebody doesn't like it, then don't attend it, right? I mean,
well, that's true.
Don't watch the TV show if you if you find it vulgar. Don't say, well, my agenda is what everybody else has to live their life by.
Right, I get it. But as a professional, I mean, these professionals, honestly, they're like, sorry, folks, I know you're my colleagues, but come grow a set. I mean, if you feel strongly about something, grow a set. Because being quiet is not going to do anybody any good, especially you. Say something if you don't like it. Be counted. Stand up and be counted. Don't be a coward. You know, by the way, we're making what, $20,000 a year, $40,000 a year teaching, and that's all, $50,000 a year if you're lucky, and that's hard on the road. So it's not like you're making a shitload of money. If you were Jennifer Aniston making $3 million a year, then you can afford to shut the hell up. But you ain't making enough to have to worry about it. That's what I think.
Well,
how mean am I, right? I don't really give a shit. So, so talk about me. Just spell my name right and please send more cookies. Anyway, anything else? Anything else? All right. I love you all. Listen, I would love to do... Oh, this really pisses me off. Rocket scientist, old limp wrist gay wad.
Who's that referencing?
It's referencing some other quilter who happens to be gay. Which, by the way, I take personally. I take that very personally. Because that is also against everything. It's who I am. It's about my family. It's about my equality in this world. It's about all that. This woman from Colorado, I'm not finished with her ass yet. But the other ones I don't give a shit about. Anyway, and by the way, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I blocked her anyway. But anyway, and by the way, I didn't know her anyway. But that's it. And I even saying to a friend of mine today, you know, if you want to stand up and be counted, if any of these women are teaching someplace where I was asked to talk or lecture or teach, I wouldn't go. I've given up gigs in North Carolina, Georgia, and Indiana because I will not go to places during lousy times about the gays. I'm not a hypocrite. It's not worth the $1,000 or $2,000 that I would make. It's not for a lecture. It's just not worth it to me. So, you know, if you need to stand up, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. If you're not, then you're complacent and you're a coward. That's what I think. But other than that,
haters gotta hate.
Haters gotta hate. Then I'm on that. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. I'm wondering. I haven't really felt well. I haven't really been doing my blog so often. I stopped Creative Mojo, although I was getting a shitload of listeners. I have been trying to listen to some podcasts. I've listened to every podcast, quilting podcast. I don't know. I'm bored to death. I don't want to sound like a big idiot, but I'm really bored, and I feel like I'm going to bring something back, but I don't want to be another boring podcast. So that's why I'm not doing Creative Mojo. Tell me what you think. Should I bring it back? Did you like it? Would you listen to it? And what would you do differently this time if I did it? Because I don't want it to be boring. And these damn podcasts, oh my God, I just want to die. I want to die. I can't listen to them. I just get so bored, and I don't want to bore you guys. So there's that. I also, now I really want to get back into the slow stitching, writing about it, because I haven't been. You know, I just kind of gave that up when I got sick again. And I think I need to get back into that, because I'm just wasting too much time. And, you know, now that I have coffin neck and coffin cheeks, I think I better do something better. Anyway, that's it. Let me know. Just write your comments down there. If you need me, call me, 908-876-1208. That's where I am. And email me at pickleroadstudios@me.com. Facebook me at Mark Lipinski or at Mark Lipinski's fan page. Go check out the website, www.marklipinski.com or pickleroadstudios.com. And by the end of this week, we'll be taking pre-orders for this kit. I hope you like it. And love you all, and goodbye, and say goodbye, Mr. Electric.
Goodbye, Mr. Electric.
Bye, bye everybody. Bye. Oh, see, I always forget how to do this. Isn't that weird?